Welcome back into the Dead Arm Sports Podcast. Josh and Jill coming at you live on a Thursday. It's the most wonderful time of the year. March Madness is here. Let the craziness begin.
March Sadness, honestly, because what do you think? By after day one, about 95% of brackets, if not more, are busted.
Oh, for sure. At least the last couple of years. And this year, I mean, we'll get into it in the second half of the show here after you get past some golf, but it's a shit show for who's going to win it this year. There isn't a standout team like there's been it seems like the years past. So it's fair game for a handful of these teams and then some. So I'm excited for it. Again, I have a big episode 4. You're going to do our March Madness draft, second annual. Unfortunately, we are not live and in person as we were last year. So this is over Zoom, but good for you. You get a recording of it that you can watch. Question of the day today, Jill. We are recording on Tuesday. It is March 14th, aka 3/14. It is Pie Day. What are your top 3 pies?
I think my favorite pie I've ever had was Lou Malnati's in Chicago. I don't know like how it would stand up now that I've like experienced. I've only had it once. But that was my first legit deep dish Chicago.
No, I'm talking dessert pies, but I love the shout out.
It's Pie Day. I thought we were talking like pizza pies.
Desserts. No, dessert pies.
Well, okay.
Lou Malnati's is phenomenal. So
let me throw pizza pies in there then too, and I'll still put Lou Malnati's at 1.
Sounds good.
Number two pie, and I'll go dessert pie on this one. Oreo pie.
Ooh.
Oreo crust. It's just like it's this super creamy like filling, and then it's almost built like a banana cream pie, but where there's no top crust. The top crust is just broken up Oreo pieces and then more chunked up Oreo pieces. It's amazing. It's so I was probably like 8, maybe 10 years old when I had my first Oreo pie, and it's still I guess no pun intended here, takes the cake as my favorite pie. And I am going to go banana cream pie as my number. Although, cherry pie. God damn it. Now I kind of want to put cherry pie up there. All right, let's go top 4 here.
Or you could just kick out the pizza that you had at number 1.
Kick out the pizza pie, and I'll throw in. If I kick out Lou Malnati's, the pizza pie. It's Pie Day. It's Pizza Pie Day. I almost said amigo. That's not right. Oi. Cherry Oreo banana cream.
Okay.
With Lou Malnati's as a outside looking in.
My outside looking in pizza pie is the rival to Lou Malnati's in Chicago, and that is Giordano's.
Is that I've never had Giordano's.
It's pretty solid too. Lou Malnati's is really good too. You can't go wrong with.
Do you have a preference?
Giordano's, but I think that's what I was introduced to first. So I think it's kind of like one of those two. So
is Giordano's also like the deep dish?
Oh yeah,
that's what I thought. Okay.
So that's my outside looking in. My number 3, not everyone's favorite, but once a year, got to have a nice piece of pumpkin pie. Yep. Slather that baby up with some whipped cream and go to town.
you have to just completely smother it.
Oh, you can't see
that
the piece
pie
of pie
cannot breathe.
Oh yeah,
it is
you
so
can't
smothered
see it when I go to eat it. That's for sure. Number 2, depending on what area of the country you are in, is pronounced different, but I'm going to go with pecan pie or pecan pie, one of the two, whatever.
I go pecan pie.
Pecan's more fun to say, I think, instead of pecan. I feel like I'm like entitled bitch or something.
See,
pecan pie it is.
See, I pronounce it pecan if I'm talking about like, hey, I'm having a handful of pecans. I'm not saying I'm having a handful of pecans. But if I'm talking about like pecan pie, that's how I pronounce it. Like pecan. I don't know why. It's how it is. Back when this would have been my first job with the company that I work for a few years back, and my boss asked me and my, it was me, my boss, and another coworker, same title as me, asked like, how do you guys do you pronounce it syrup or do you pronounce it syrup? And I was like, oh yeah, I obviously pronounce it syrup. Doesn't everybody pronounce it syrup? Like, and every us three, we were all in agreement. Like, yeah, it's pronounced syrup. We go to a breakfast. So this is when I was traveling for work. We go to this breakfast place, and they asked what kind of syrup I want. I was like, oh, I'll just take the maple syrup. And I was like, oh my God, I say syrup. I was like, oh shit. And now stupid personal story there, but mind blowing in my own mind.
Yeah.
Immediately I was like, oh shit.
It is weird though how you end up doing that sometimes. Number one, going into the freezer, scooping me up a big old scoop of vanilla ice cream and slapping that down next to my nice warm apple pie. That's my go-to. Love apple pie. Can't go wrong there.
So. America,
its finest.
No cherry pie for you?
No, I'm not.
Not your thing?
Not a cherry guy at all. I like maraschino cherries, but just like the regular cherries, I don't know. Maybe it's just a little bit too tart for me, but
yeah, I kind of like the tartness. Maraschinos are great, like one or two maraschino cherries, like
not a pie cherry.
but a pie of maraschino cherries. Good God, like call 911 before you even start eating.
Right? That's great. We can be found at Dead Arm Sports, Twitter, Instagram. Check us out on Facebook at Dead Arm Sports. Go to YouTube, type in Dead Arm Sports. Make sure you subscribe. Click the bell there once our Dead Arm Sports pops up. That way you know when our live episodes drop. You can monitor the chat, ask us any questions you want, need us to clarify anything, or have another topic you want us to bring up, or want to hear a little bit more about a topic. That's what it is for. Jell's pointing to that Dead Arm Sports logo for you on YouTube. You can check that out. You can see his fire that went out. Maybe he'll go fix that while
it's still going. Just
it's
a little low on flame.
Faint. Okay, gotcha.
You can see it now.
Oh, it's roaring now. All right.
Don't be talking smack about my my fire. I think my AC is blowing all over it though.
Oh, okay. On our socials at Dead Arm Sports, at DasJel, that's at DASJEL. I can be found at DasJPEC, that's at DASJPEC. Hit us up with any questions there. Subscribe, follow us on all three of those tags. Then subscribe, rate, and review the podcast on your favorite listening platform. Send us a screenshot. We will swag you up with some Dead Arm Sports stuff for free. One of my favorite episodes.
Swagging it.
Of the year, Jell. We've got our March Madness draft coming up, but we do have golf to preview beforehand. Valspar Championship is this weekend, last leg of the Florida swing before they head over to your neck of the wood. And Tejas have the Dell match play next week, one of my favorite events of the season outside of the majors. But Valspar Championship, Innisbrook Resort, Copperhead Course, par 71, 7,300 yards. Have the dreaded snake pit down there towards the end, treacherous stretch of holes. Sam Burns going for the rare three-peat. He is the back-to-back winner in this event. We'll see if maybe one of us snags him up. Other notables in this one outside of Sam Burns: Keegan Bradley, Joel Damon, Matt Fitzpatrick, Tommy Fleetwood, Justin Rose, Jordan Spieth, and Justin Thomas. So not a huge field, which is understandable. They're coming off of two designated events, Arnold Palmer and the Players Championship, and then you have the Dell match play next week. So this is a popular week for a lot of guys to take off. Still some solid names out there. Still should be a fun tournament to turn into if you're flipping back and forth between some of those March Madness games on Sunday. What are the betting favorites in this one, Joe, with not a lot of notables?
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned a few notables here. I mean, Justin Thomas right now is the favorite at plus 950. Even coming off of a pretty tough week, he still has that potential to run away with any tournament. So I'm not surprised to see him at the top, but not a huge betting fit. We've seen Rahm as high as plus 700, plus 650 this season. So JT at plus 950, I think that might be the biggest number for a betting favorite that we've talked about this season already. But that's not because JT isn't a nice player. It's just because I think it's because he's coming off of a tournament where he ended up finishing even, as you would know.
Oh yeah, well aware. I was glad he got back to even, to be honest.
Like, I mean, you had texted me earlier in the week thinking that he was going to miss the cut, and you're kind of lucky that he did or didn't.
Right.
Jordan Spieth is your number 2 favorite at plus 1,000. So 10-1 odds. You bet $25, you could win $250. Matthew Fitzpatrick at plus 1,400. I like seeing him up there. He had a really nice season last year. I like seeing him up at the top of the odds.
Funny too, the 3 guys that you mentioned were all part of the Netflix documentary Full Swing. So I did check that out. If you do have Netflix out there, no hashtag not a sponsor, but it was pretty nice solid. If they were. It was a very, very cool behind the scenes look at a handful of guys on the PGA Tour, just kind of their ins and outs, get to meet some of their family and just see their personalities off of the field. And I'm excited it got renewed for a second season. So excited to see who they're going to have on to learn a little bit more about next year.
And that did end up getting
second season
renewed
coming
for
2024.
2-time champion Sam Burns also at plus 1,400, so 14-1. And then a couple guys at plus 2,000 in Tommy Fleetwood, who had a really nice Saturday this past weekend at the Players, and Justin Rose also at plus 2,000, who he played a pretty nice tournament as well this past weekend.
Yep. So we'll get into our picks here. Again, if you're new to the show, welcome in episode 2, season 3. Appreciate it.
Episode 3. Wait, what'd you say?
Episode 2, season 3.
God.
Nailed it.
Swish.
Each week, Jell and I pick a golfer, starting with the Century Tournament of Champions. Once you pick a golfer, you cannot use them again. Can't pick the same golfer as your opponent for the week. Whatever their score is relative to par, that is what you get. Cut does not matter. So if your guy misses a cut at +3, that is the score that you get. Tiebreaker, if we were to end up tying, is cuts. And so far, we haven't picked a winner, but I believe I'm the only one that has a missed cut on the board. So 1 missed cut. So if you're looking to throw down some quiche on guys just to make the cut, we're rolling strong. So you can follow along with us there. This week,
and that only missed cut, that was the second tournament of the year.
So yeah.
And that was on Tom Kim, who finished 1 over. I mean, it's not like it was a total whiff either. I believe Tom Kim ended up going into that tournament was the favorite to win it.
And he was coming off of a solid week at the Century Tournament of Champions a week before. So I thought it was a lock to at least make the cut. But
yeah, that's the only missed cut so far, though. So yeah, if you're a betting man and you want to roll with something, listen and tune in.
Dead Arm Sports has you covered.
Dead Arm Sports it is.
I really wanted to go
Since
Sam
you're
Burns.
down by 15 strokes, you get to go first.
Correct. And I'm really wanting to go with Sam Burns here, but he is just not playing great golf right now. I don't trust it at all. He's not going to three-peat in this one. So I'm going to go with a guy that has been playing some of his better golf so far this year. He's played this tournament 11 times. 7 out of those 11 times he has made the cut. 5 top 15s. He was tied for 6th place last week at the Players Championship. Won the Pebble Beach AT&T Pro-Am earlier this year. I'm going with Justin Rose. Justin Rose has been really solid so far. Not somebody that has been that solid the last couple of seasons, kind of fell off a little bit, but something in his game has turned around. He's striking the ball very well, he's putting well, and every tournament he's played in, he's looked solid so far this year. So I'm going to roll with Justin Rose, someone that has had success here, hasn't won it, but has placed towards the top here. And that's what I need right now to climb back into this. So I'm rolling Justin Rose.
Yeah, I mean, top 5 in terms of odds to win this. Can't fault it at all. And like you said, he played pretty well at the Players last week. He's had he hasn't been competing necessarily up at the very top of the leaderboard for too much of the season, but he's been like at the very tippity top. But you've seen his name, when NBC or CBS or PGA channel, Golf Channel puts up their top 5, top 10. We've seen his name up there a lot over these last few weeks, over this last month or so. So I like the pick. There's a reason that he's a top 5 option to win the whole thing. I'm going to go a little bit of a different direction here. And I'm going to rock Davis Riley. He ended up losing in a playoff last year to Sam Burns in this. He played like shit at the Players last week. He ended up missing the cut, finished with a +4 through Saturday. But outside of that, really, like, he has been playing some pretty nice golf. Yeah. And I know last year I was high on him, thinking that, hey, this guy's going to eventually break through. And he did not last year, but we mentioned that it's a little bit weaker of a field this week. Obviously, you've got a couple top guys in JT and Spieth, but Davis Riley's a really good player. And I think that there's a chance that this is the time that he finally breaks through and maybe doesn't get that number 1 overall finish that he's been craving. But I think he's got a chance to finish top 5, top 10. And he's just a very solid golfer. Right now, odds are at +3,000 to win it. So I'm not saying I expect him to win it, but again, I'll take a top 5, top 10. And I think Davis Riley is more than capable of that.
Yeah, no, this is a perfect spot to take him. Like you said, coming off the success last year, losing in that playoff to Sam Burns, obviously got the experience there. And not a lot of tournaments you're probably going to be riding with Davis Riley in all this season. So perfect opportunity to use him in this one. So I definitely like to pick, and hopefully he misses the cut and
you got some ground to make up, buddy.
Yes, I do. Good thing we have a lot of season left. So something that doesn't have a lot of season left, it is March Madness. It is our March Madness draft.
Well, that was John Cena.
But no, it is time for our March Madness draft, second annual. How we roll with this segment here pretty soon. I'm going to flip a nice Virginia State quarter here. Shell's going to call heads or tails to decide the draft order, and we'll just go back and forth. What we do here is we each pick one team seeded 1 through 16. So we'll each pick one seed. We'll each pick 1 2 seed, so on and so forth. So essentially, we're going to be drafting a total of 16 teams each, 32 total. And those are the teams that we are going to ride with throughout the tournament. So if the team you pick wins the first round matchup, you get a point. If they advance to the Sweet 16, you get 2 points. Elite 8, 3 points. Final 4, 4 points. National Championship game, 5 points. And if you pick the correct winner, you get 6. So we will keep a total there. Last year, again, it was fun. We were in person for this. Stole a couple of picks from each other, so I had some nice reactions. Sure, we will have that again as well. There's a couple teams I've got my heart set on here, and very nice upset potential too. But anything else, Jill, before I flip the Virginia quarter?
Flip the coin.
All right. Show everyone out there. Got a nice little head.
Is that George?
It is George. Then we got some nice ships from Virginia. All right, Jill. Call her in the air.
Tails. Tails never fails.
Tails failed. It is
Tails
failed.
No.
I have the first pick. Ooh, baby. Man, this is tough.
I know where I'm going here. If you don't want it, I know where I'm going.
As
Just
a
don't steal mine.
podcast, I feel like I have to. Going with Gonzaga in the 3 spot. I have to. I mean, he has been an absolute darling of this podcast the last 2 years, blowing out your eardrums. So I am rolling with Gonzaga. Coming off of the WCC Conference Championship, they've been rolling lately. So they have played a lot of good competition this year early on in the season. Obviously, their conference schedule. St. Mary's is in the tournament this year, but outside of that, not elite by any means. But they've been rolling. Drew Timme has been on fire the last little bit too. So this is one of those years that, all the hype was there the last couple of years, and I feel like they faltered, and they're kind of coming in a little bit under the radar this year. Drew Timme came back after, so I like them this year. So I'm gonna roll with Gonzaga here.
Yeah, I mean, you got to go with the podcast favorite, I guess, right?
Yep.
So that's totally fair. He is amongst the finalists for that Naismith Player of the Year award. There may have been other players that have been better, but he's been a finalist for like 3 straight seasons. I feel like you just have to give it to him. Like,
the
just
award.
give it to the old trimmer. Give it
to trimmer.
Give it to the handlebar. Come on now. All right, I guess my first pick here. I'm gonna roll with a. I gotta preface this pick with a little bit of disappointment. Dick Vitale was offered by CBS Turner, that group, to announce some of these tournament games, and ESPN granted that. They said they would be fine if Dickie V wanted to participate in those broadcasts, and he turned it down, saying that he was dedicated dedicated to ESPN for everything that they've done for him. They have done a lot for him. He'd gone through a number of family issues, a lot of health issues, and they've stuck by him. So I understand that Dickie V wanted to stay loyal to them, but it still is a little bit disappointing as a viewer to not see him calling a Duke Blue Devils game called The Dukies Are on Fire, baby. Number 5 seed Duke Blue Devils. I've got them making a nice run in the Final Four, or possibly to the Final Four. They've they when fully healthy, they had 1 loss. They've had a number of injuries this season. They won the ACC tournament. I am shocked that they were a 5 seed. I bet if Coach K was still there, they would be no lower than a 3 seed. I'm going to roll with the talent with the Dukies, baby, as my 5 seed in my first overall pick.
I like it. I am going to move over. First pick was the 3 seed. I'm going to go higher up on the board here. I'm going to go with the teams that match up against that 5 seed and teams that are historically most likely to pull off an upset. So I'm going to roll with my man Clyde the Cougar here and take the College of Charleston.
No!
Here. So
God damn it!
Rolling with College of Charleston. They have 5 guys on their starting lineup averaging double digits per game. So team that just comes out absolutely firing, and they've got a nice matchup to pulling that up here. I forget off the top of my head, San Diego State, which San Diego State has historically been pretty good in this tournament. They've had some high seeds, but they're just not the same program.
Can't score.
Not the same team.
San Diego State doesn't score.
Very slow tempo, and I think College of Charleston is going to run all over them. So I'm rolling with my man Clyde the Cougar. Let's go Cougs.
That was one of the teams that I had highlighted as one of the teams that I wanted, because
cross it off there,
I did. Thank you very much. Charleston scores. San Diego State does not. This is where we see those massive upsets where if College's Charleston gets off to this is very possible, they get out to like a 15-6 lead. Can San Diego State really just play hard D and limit Charleston to not scoring at all? This is where we see those upsets. So I love the pick. I had them highlighted for a reason, and I have
them in my personal bracket, Sweet 16. So let's ride. Let's ride.
We'll see. We'll see about that. We've got some potential matchups going forward. Okay. Like I said, I had them highlighted. I'm going to go down to that number 6 seed. I'm going to go with the Wildcats of Kentucky. They haven't had the greatest regular season. They usually don't. Outside of that one season when they went undefeated and then lost to the Badgers. But it seems like they usually that talent finally has played together for long enough where they finally click when we get to the tournaments. And I'm gonna ride with Coach Cal here and just that talent that they generally always have.
Yeah, coming off of that disappointing loss last year in the opening round. I forget who they played against, but they got embarrassed last year in the tournament first round. But yeah, they've looked good at times. Again, like you said, it's been kind of up and down, but the whole SEC's kind of been beaten up on each other too.
They I feel like every preseason they're, one of these top 10 AP preseason top 10 teams. And they usually come out looking like ass, but then they'll have some mid-season games where they look great. And then the next game they'll look like shit. But I feel like they can, I hope at least, obviously, that they can kind of gel at this point when
that's you. Gel.
God damn it. I was like, wait, what? Okay, go ahead.
I'm going to stick in the SEC here, and I'm going to go with the team that was really disrespected in this bracket. They finished second in the SEC in the regular season, and were runner-up in the conference tournament. And going down to your neck of the woods, Jill, I know you got a lot of friends that went to the school, and I'm gonna be an Aggie for the week and ride with Texas A&M in this one. I like the matchup. Penn State put up a nice fight in the championship game in the Big Ten tournament against Purdue, but I don't know if they're going to end up repeating that. They have one of the best players in the tournament in this one. Name's slipping my mind for whatever reason, but so it's going to be a tough fight. But I think A&M is going to be too aggressive in this one and end up beating up on Penn State a little bit. And I think Texas A&M is really looking forward, which could also be a hindrance, and maybe Penn State ends up advancing in this one, but they have a potential second round matchup against Texas. So that would be pretty freaking sweet. See Texas versus Texas A&M second round for a chance at the Sweet 16, but I'm going to ride with the Aggies.
Yep. I'm good with that. I mean, I think that I would have, that was my number 7 seed my number 1 7 seed. So I would have ridden with them too. I guess while I have the opportunity to, let me just grab the overall number 1 seed with Alabama. I think that they're my favorite right now to win the title. And there's obviously some other options out there with, you got 3 other options, but Purdue, Houston, I don't believe in myself too much this year. I like Kansas. That would have been my consolation prize personally. But Alabama right now is my national champion. I'm going to grab them now when I can. So let's ride with the, Roll Tide.
Sounds good. Let's see here. Couple options here that I am looking through here. So far, to recap, I've got the 3 seed Gonzaga Bulldogs, 12 seed Charleston Cougars, and Texas A&M Aggies at the 7 seed. So right now, staying away from the 1, 5, and 6 is that who Gel has picked. And looking here, going through my list, I'm All right, I'm going to go with the 13 seed here. I'm going to go with Kent State. Kent State Golden Flashes have a matchup against Indiana, and Indiana's just one of those teams I don't trust in the tournament. They're either all in or all out, and I have a feeling they're going to be all out in this one. And this is a matchup that I think they could end up being a potential Sweet 16 team here. And Gingell, I know you stepped away for a second. Locked in the number 13 seed Kent State Golden Flashes. Wow. So
I had a couple other 13 seeds as options here, and now I don't know which one to go with. You damn it.
That's fine. Like I said, Indiana has been very up and down, so I like Kent State. 30-win team this year. That's tough to beat.
I had Kent State as 3 of my 13 seeds winning, or one of the 3 13 seeds winning. So I guess I'll sit on that one and have to decide between 2 others in a little bit here. All right. Let me jump over to the number 10 seed USC Trojans. Yep. I am not a fan. I mean, Michigan State, I feel like they just continuously disappoint in the tournament. They haven't had really that great of a season. They had to fight their way to make it into the tournament. If I'm being honest, I don't think they deserve a 7 seed at all. I would have pegged them for closer to like a 10 or 11 seed. So the Trojans aren't anything especially special, but they play a style of offense that I think can take care of Michigan State. And again, I'm not impressed by Michigan State at all. So I think I can at least get a win here, and we'll see kind of how that bracket plays out, given that they would have Marquette in round 2. And historically, we don't see much out of Marquette either in this tournament. So I'm thinking maybe a Sweet 16 berth for USC. And then they play Kentucky, which is a massive wild card. So potential Elite 8 berth for USC if things shake out this way. But yeah, I'm going to go my 10 seed. I'm going to grab USC here.
Sounds good. I like it. That was the first team I had as the 10 seed. So a couple options I like as well. But like you said, Michigan State, I just don't trust them. I know Izzo has pulled off some magical runs in March, but this ain't going to be one of those years. With my next pick, I'm going to go over to the 4 seed because, like you had mentioned, Joe, I like a lot of 13 over 4s this year. There's a lot of 4 seeds that are very, very questionable this year.
Shit. Good.
And there's one that I think should end up advancing through here. That's your boys, Joe, the UConn Huskies. I like UConn a lot in the 4 seed. Iona, yes, got Rick Pitino there, but you're going to need some Rick Pitino magic in order to win this one. I like UConn advancing from this one and potentially matching up against the winner of St. Mary's VCU. But I don't know. UConn's been pretty solid this whole season so far. Solid 4 seed in this one. And again, like I said, we've had historically, I picked Kent State over Indiana. I don't like Indiana this year. Tennessee scares me. They always seem to falter. They just lost their starting point guard this year. And 4 seed up in the top part, Virginia. Well, we all know what happened pre-COVID when they lost to the 16 seed, and Virginia's kind of struggled a little bit too. Slower tempo. Furman's a team that I don't know. That might be one of those 3 you're debating at your 13 seed there, Gel. But Furman Paladins are another team that could potentially be putting Virginia on upset alert. So I'm going to rock with the UConn Huskies.
Yeah, that actually honestly kind of shocks me here at the number 4. I didn't have UConn down as either of my 2 picks at the 4 seed, but not that like UConn has a legit squad. It's just that I have one of these 13 seeds upsetting them. Okay. So I won't touch that one right now. Let me go over to the number 9 seed. I'm looking at what's available here. So you've got the 8-9 matchups. Maryland versus West Virginia in one bracket. Memphis FAU in another bracket. Arkansas, Illinois in the West bracket. And I'm going to take my 9 seed in the Midwest bracket with the Auburn Tigers over Iowa. Iowa plays no defense. I know that, and Auburn's going to be able to score with them. Iowa is a high scoring team, but Auburn's going to be able to score with them. They have more athletes than Iowa does, and I trust athletes in this NCAA tournament. So I'm going to rock Auburn as my number 9 seed.
I like it. They were my number 2 team, more so because I just fucking hate Iowa basketball and Fran McCaffrey. So, but Auburn, the only thing that scared me a little bit with them, they've been very inconsistent this year, but they are the better team if they show up. They're a lot more athletic, a lot better shooters, and should end up beating Iowa in this one. But again, I would have picked Auburn as well for the hating Iowa. Because you know what Iowa stands for, Joe, right? Idiots out wandering around.
That's so lame.
We know Iowa listeners on the podcast.
I don't think we have any, right?
Probably not. All right, I'm going to get my first crack here. First crack here at the 2 seed, and I'm going to go with a team that I think could make a little bit of a run here just based on where they're at in this bracket, and that is the Arizona Wildcats. I really like their potential matchups here. Princeton, then you got Missouri or Utah State. I think they should be able to handle them fine. Then you got either Creighton, NC State, Baylor, UCSB. So I like Arizona making a little bit of a run here. I like them a lot as a 2 seed. They're my top 2 seed on the board, so I'm gonna roll with Arizona here.
Yeah, that's fair. They had a chance to be a number 1 seed, very legitimate chance to be a 1 seed. So they're always really good. So I totally respect that move. You know what? Let's go down this board a little bit here. Let's go to 15.
Ooh.
I'm going to go with UNC Asheville.
Okay.
As a potential upset pick over UCLA. Reason being, UCLA is missing their top player and possibly the best player in the Pac-12. So if UNC Asheville can get off to a hot start and UCLA is trying to chase points, we could be seeing them. I mean, this would obviously be a massive upset, but I like them over any other 2 seeds, any other potential 2 seed upsets here, or 15 over 2 upsets here. And let's go UNC Asheville. Give them a little bit of love.
Sounds good. I'll go one seed lower or higher.
I'd say 14. Lower. If you're going 14.
Okay. Seed lower, 14. So I am going here basically just because I love their nickname here. They have a not nice matchup, I guess, but Baylor has been a team that has struggled sometimes in this tournament. I am going with the University of California, Santa Barbara Gauchos. Let's go Gauchos. But yeah, Baylor is a team that has played phenomenal this year. They are a solid squad, but again, they've been a team that have busted a lot of brackets the last few years and have struggled some in the tournament. So I'm gonna roll with UCSB to pull off a monster upset here with that 14 seed.
That's totally fair. I had them as my number 1 14 seed as well. Pretty much for the same reasons as you. So no, not gonna hate on that one bit. What do we have left here? 8 seed, 11 seed, and the 16 seed has not been touched. All right, I'll go with the Memphis Tigers over they got FAU here, and then they also face Purdue. Assuming Purdue is able to beat the 16 seed. Memphis would then have Purdue the next round. And Purdue historically struggles mightily in the tournament. I know that they're a 1 seed this year. They've got Zach Edey, who is a son of a bitch, massive, just like huge human being that could potentially be a game changer here for Purdue. But every season they go in with 1 or 2 massive bigs and look like they could be a massive threat in the tournament and always end up disappointing. So I think there's a chance for Memphis to pull something off here. I'll go with Memphis as my 8 seed or as my pick for the 8 seed for that reason. Could potentially get 2 picks or 2 wins here.
Yep. No, it's a pretty solid pick there. I had them down as my 2 seed in this one, but man, I'm going to go with the 11 seed here, and I am so torn right now. I just looked at scores, and potentially one of my teams has not played yet today in the play-in game, so that would be so hard to pick them, but oh, man.
Are you going Arizona State?
No, they don't play tonight. Man.
Well, just say you want to take the winner of the play-in.
Winner of the play-in. But the problem is I don't want the other team if they were to win. So screw it. One of us is getting a point. I'm going to go with my second pick here, and I'm going to say Kentucky has another early exit this year and go with the Providence Friars. Not as strong of a team as they have been in the past, but I like Providence quite a bit in this one just because of how we mentioned how Kentucky has struggled at times this year and has had some bad losses. So I'm going to roll with Providence here.
That's fair. I had them written down as one of my 2. I guess I'll knock out the other one in a second here. And this leaves us with the 16 seed. I am going to roll with Northern Kentucky as my 16 seed. I don't expect anything out of them here, but Houston doesn't have much of a schedule that they've played, and maybe that can get me a win here with Northern Kentucky. So there's my so we've touched on all 16 seeds here, Josh. I guess we could probably at this point run through these next few pretty quick.
Yeah, well, maybe not necessarily that quick, but we're not competing with the other person now for picks. So I'll kick it off with the 16 seed here, Jell, and I got a nice dad joke for you here. New dad here. What did the buffalo say when he dropped off his son at school?
Bye, son.
Bye, son. Rolling with the Howard Bison. Going up against Kansas. So Kansas had an early exit. Well, they not an early exit, lost their Big 12 championship game. Didn't look great in that one, but have been a solid team. So I would say out of all of the number 1 seeds, they're probably the most vulnerable in that first round, which is not very vulnerable at all. So I'll roll with Howard in this one. Not confidently at all. 0% chance, but that's my pick.
Hey, we've now seen what UNCB or who that beat Virginia.
University of Maryland, Baltimore County.
UMCB or UMBC. Yeah. Yep. Baltimore County. I love it.
On Virginia.
So something from what I read this week is that if the committee had actually watched UMBC that year at all, they would not have put them in as a 16 seed. Interesting if the same thing happens this season where there's one of these 4 teams and that knocks one of these teams off. But I'll be honest, I have not watched much Howard basketball this season. Nope. So sorry if you're looking for any of that insight. All right, let's make our way up the list a little bit. I've already locked in my 1 seed, and I'll go with my home state, Texas Longhorns, as my number 2 seed. I would have liked Arizona there as my 2, but Texas has played really well. They end up they've had a lot of internal turmoil with Chris Beard, their head coach, getting fired for domestic violence allegations that ended up getting dropped. And Chris Beard, by the way, just to catch you up a little bit, has been hired by Ole Miss to be their new head coach going into the 2023 season. Interesting, but just quick note on Ole Miss. They are the Rebels, and they have Chris Beard and Lane Kiffin as their basketball and football coaches. They're living up to that name, the Runnin' Rebels. Right. Like Lane Kiffin was literally run off the tarmac by a plane. And Chris Beard went to, I think he may have spent some time in, I don't know if he spent any time in jail, but he ran away from a domestic violence charge. So running rebels indeed. But even with him gone, Texas has played really well. Talent is elite, and I'm going to go with Texas as my 2 seed.
Sounds good. I'm going to guarantee myself a point, and I talked about Howard playing Kansas and that Kansas was probably the most vulnerable team, but I think Kansas is also a 1 seed that can make a very deep run, so I'm going to take Kansas in this one. So I'm going to be guaranteed a point. One of my teams will be going home first round, but Kansas definitely can make a run, and they've got a nice couple matchup potentials for the next couple of rounds that they could sneak through too. So they, again, had a nice solid season and probably the best conference in basketball this year in that Big 12. And I think they should be fine. Get Bill Self back. He was in the hospital this last weekend for the tournament, and he's been cleared to return to the team, should be coaching them on the sideline. So I'll roll with the Jayhawks. Chalk Jayhawks.
Rock chalk all the way down your bracket. If you want to win, just freaking rock chalk. No, Kansas would have been that's my second number 1 that I would have picked here as well. Let's go to this 4 seed. So you picked UConn. The reason that I didn't pick UConn here is because I'm going to rock Mr. Rick Pitino with my 13 pick, Iona, and I've got them getting possibly a couple wins in this tournament. So gonna rock with Rick Pitino, the vampire.
Like it.
As my 13 overall.
I'll bounce back to the bottom here and go with my 15 seed. I thought maybe you were going to pick their opponent here, Joe, when you said they're your home states. I thought maybe you're going with the Golden Eagles of Marquette, but you apparently your home state now is Tejas, so you went with Texas. So I'm going with the Vermont Catamounts in this one. I just do not trust Marquette in the March Madness tournament. I know it's a whole new regime there, but every single year,
Shaka Smart man is legit.
He is, and I can't stand him. But maybe it's because he went to a rival high school, Oregon.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I forgot he did go there.
Yeah, but Vermont,
that's pretty cool, though.
Yeah, but
still,
I can't stand Marquette. And again, they have done me wrong so many times in this tournament. I cannot pick them. So I'll go with their opponent in the Vermont Catamounts.
I'm cool with that. I get it. I get it. All right, let's make our way up to number 12. I know my number 1 overall pick was Duke, but
are you hedging your bet too?
I'm hedging my bet a little bit here, and right. I'm going to pick Oral Roberts as I'm going to go with Oral Roberts as my. What's that? What did you say?
Well, you said Oral Roberts, so I went.
I've not oraled any Roberts. I feel like
explicit tag, folks.
You be quiet. Oral Roberts, I feel like every year, like they're one of these upset potential picks. It's like they always fall into this like 11 or this like 10 through 14 area where, hey, they've got scoring, they can score. Now those upsets happen few and far between, but they have happened before. So hedge my bet a little bit. I'll go Oral Roberts here.
Sounds good. I like it. Let's see, where am I at? I will jump back up to the 5 seed here. Duke was my first one, so you did take that one from me. Could have had them, but went Gonzaga instead. And let's see.
Where would you have taken Duke? Did you have them high up on like your power rankings?
I probably would have ended up taking them 3rd. I really wanted Gonzaga, really wanted College of Charleston, so they probably would have fallen in right after that. So
fair.
There's another 5 seed. I like as well in Miami. Miami
That's
Hurricanes have been pretty
that's
solid.
nice.
Again, they're a team that could be on upset alert. I really like Drake too. Drake is a pretty solid 12 seed there. Again, that 5-12 matchup is so scary, but again, Miami, you win that one, matched up against Indiana. I think you're the better team there. And then, or Kent State. Kent State maybe blew their load the first round, and you could advance into the Sweet 16 there. Again, Miami could be on upset alert, but I like them as my number 2-5 seed.
Yeah, the only thing that I love Miami in this tournament. Honestly, I think Duke has a chance to make the Final Four, and that's why I went 100%. With them here. But I also love Miami. I think that they have, and their bracket really is not that tough. I mean, they're really, I mean, they beat Drake. Then they've, if everything falls, you know, with the favorites winning, Miami beats Drake, then Miami beats Indiana, which Indiana, I mean, I don't like the Big Ten at all in this entire tournament.
I don't either.
I would put Miami as the favorite over Indiana, and then that gives them Houston, which I mean, Houston's a legit one, but
one of their starting players got hurt in that championship game, so I don't know the status on him. So
I mean, I've got Miami in the Elite Eight, so yeah. I love them. I've got Miami beating Houston right now. I think that's a great 5 pick there.
Yeah. I like both our 5s.
Absolutely.
Those are both my number 1 and 2. So yeah. I think we're doing good there.
Let me jump over. I guess let me just I teased my pick as the 4 seed. You went with UConn. I'm gonna go with Tennessee. Really, Tennessee's the only one that I don't. That's the only team that I have winning in the first round. I had Iona, Furman, and Kent State winning in the first round. Tennessee's my only winning 4 seed as I have my bracket playing out right now. So I guess I might as well lock them in right now.
Nice. I like it too, because you have a potential matchup against Duke in the second round. So you're going to be,
I'll be fucked one way or the other.
Teams. Yeah. Either way. Love it.
I'm already going to be, I mean, there's any number of ways this tournament's going to turn out. So,
oh yeah. All right, so let's see here. I'm trying to see so I don't lose spots. Just kind of going in order here now. I'm going to go with my 10 seed. You had taken USC. I think they're the top 10 seed there. And you had mentioned that you don't like the Big Ten a ton this year. I don't either. I think Purdue possibly can make a run if ED doesn't get into foul trouble, but Northwestern's sitting there as a 7 seed. They had a really solid season this year. They have not had a lot of experience in the NCAA tournament, so I'm going to roll with the Boise State Broncos at the number 10 seed. You'd mentioned UCLA is a little banged up. They have a potential second-round matchup if they can get past Northwestern, maybe make a little noise there. So they might be a team that could sneak into that second weekend. But again, Northwestern, I don't trust them at all.
You can't trust them. Mm-mm. That Boise State was my number 10 seed, so no fault there. I guess sticking with the theme of that 7 seed, I already said that I already shit on Michigan State. You already pretty much told the story of Northwestern, and you already picked Texas A&M. So I'm at this point where I have no pick or no choice but to pick Missouri here, going against Jordan Love's alma mater, Utah State, in round 1. Mizzou as my 7 seed.
I like it. That was my number 2 7 seed behind the Aggies, so I like that a lot. Let's see here. What do we have? 3 picks each, Joe. I have the 6, 8, and 9 left, and I believe you have 3, 11, 14?
3, 11, 14, yes, sir.
All right. Sounds good. I will keep moving up the board here, and I'm going to pick a number 9 team that I really, really like a lot. I think they could end up getting into that second weekend, knocking off the number 1 seed in that round of 32. Ooh, breaking news. Lions signed David Montgomery. But little football news there for you. But so I'm going to go.
Okay, well, let's go back to that after we finish this up.
Sounds good. All right, I'm going to go with the Florida Atlantic Owls.
I kind of figured that's where you were going to go.
They have a matchup against Memphis there, I think is a coin toss, and then they could end up putting up some points on Purdue, making some noise there, making a little run. So I think they're pretty solid, number 9 seed. I had Auburn as my second 9 seed, and Florida Atlantic's my first. So that was my first pick there.
Yeah, I figured you were going FAU. Memphis is a bit of a wild card, but that's also why I picked them, is because sometimes those wild cards can make some nice runs. But I like the FAU pick. I think you've got a chance there to at least get that first win. And like you said, same logic as I had with by picking Memphis, they have a chance to make that Sweet 16 going against Purdue. So I'm into that pick. Let me go back into the blue blood territory, and I'm gonna go Baylor Bears as my 3 seed.
Okay.
They're so athletic, and that's what ended up winning them the title a couple of years back, was just straight up athleticism and skill players. Not the most refined team, but a lot of times you don't need refinement in this tournament, especially as you get deeper in this tournament. Players get a little bit more tired, and straight up athleticism and endurance, that's the kind of stuff that can end up winning you games. So I like the Baylor Bears here.
All right. Sounds good. My number 8 seed, I'm going to go with here. Let me double check, cross my T's, dot my I's. And yes, it's not your Kansas. It is our Kansas. And that is where I am going.
So
again, matchup against Big Ten team Illinois, who at times has been solid this year, at times has not been good. And Arkansas played a nice SEC schedule this year, and again have Kansas. So one of those 2 teams, if they do advance, will meet up in the second round, be gone. But I like getting that point in the first round with Arkansas.
Yeah, I think that's extremely likely. I mean, Illinois started off the season pretty well. They ended last season pretty well. Started off this season pretty well, and just completely fell off. I'm good with that pick. My number 11 team. Oh man, I had NC State. Do I still want to roll with that? I think so, just because it is NC State, because the other 2 11 seed matchups are playing games. So I guess I'm just going to go with NC State because I don't know who the other 2 11 seeds are going to be.
Yeah, that's
I was tempted by that Mississippi State Pitt game and taking the winner there, but I don't know if Pitt necessarily even should be in this tournament. And I mean, Mississippi State, who is that? Oh no, I think he played for Ole Miss. Henderson.
Oh yeah, it was Ole Miss, that douche.
That was Ole Miss.
Marshall Henderson.
Ugh. I know we brought him up last year.
Yeah.
Douchebag.
Yes. No, my top 11 seed is Mississippi State, but I didn't want to go with the play-in game and not knowing if they're even going to advance, because I don't want Pitt at all.
I don't think Pitt should be in the tournament.
No.
I just don't.
Not at all. All right, I'm down to my 6 seed. Joe will give
this is your final pick
here in a minute. This is my final pick, and I'm going to go with a friendly favorite from our football season here. And this is a team I think honestly could make a huge run. They're going to be playing the winner of the ASU Nevada game. Going to be going up against Timmer in the second round, but I like the TCU Horned Frogs this year. They're a really solid team. They've put up some solid wins in that Big 12, and are a team that if you get past Gonzaga, look out. You're going to end up playing either Northwestern, Boise State, UCLA, UNC Asheville, and I think
probably
this is one
UNC
of the weaker,
Asheville.
Yeah, this is one of the weaker brackets, regions in the tournament. So I like TCU maybe to make a little run.
Yeah, I mean, you pick the right 6 seed. Just given the competition, it's pretty weak. I am going to Mr. Irrelevance here. No, it's not Brock Purdy. French Montana State. as my 14 seed. They are taking on ding 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 Kansas State. Kansas State. All right. So Montana State. So Josh, your tops or your 16.
I've got Kansas Jayhawks, Arizona Wildcats, Gonzaga Bulldogs, UConn Huskies, Miami Hurricanes, TCU Horned Frogs, Texas A&M Aggies, Arkansas Razorbacks, Florida Atlantic Owls, Boise State Broncos, Providence Friars, College of Charleston, Clyde the Cougar, Kent State Golden Flashes, UCSB Gauchos, Vermont Catamounts, and the Howard Bison.
Okay, I'm not going to know the nicknames of all of my teams. So do you know all of mine?
No.
All right, I'm going to go 1 through 16. Alabama, Texas, Baylor, Tennessee, the Dukies, Kentucky, Missouri, Memphis, Auburn, USC, NC State, Oral Roberts, Iona, home of Rick Pitino, French Montana State, UNC Asheville, and Northern Kentucky. Now, I think we can all say we are upset there is no Western Kentucky in this tournament.
Yes.
No Big Red.
Good old Big Red. I know. Maybe next year. Is always next year. So yeah, going back real quick here, I'll wrap up the show, but did have that David Montgomery news drop. Initial thoughts there, Joe. I'm going to look up and see if I can get contract details here, if there's anything out there, but initial takeaway.
Yeah, I mean, right off the top, I think that I almost kind of think this is a nice little chess piece that the Lions are playing here. We've seen already a couple chess pieces being played in the Broncos signing Jared Stidham just as a backup quarterback. So that basically left the Raiders with no contingency plan if Jimmy Garoppolo didn't get signed to Vegas. We saw, and now this is another, we saw Mike White get signed by the Dolphins. I think a really nice backup for Tua, but I also think a little
18 mil.
Okay. I think also a nice chess piece that Miami played by not letting the Jets have a contingency plan in case they don't get Rodgers. They then can't start Mike White and they're forced to start Zach Wilson. I thought a really nice piece played there from Miami, grabbing Mike White. And now this is the third, I think, not only a valuable move for the Lions, but also on top of that, a chess piece saying, hey, Bears, it's Khalil Herbert or bust. And they're going to be forced to, at this point, draft a running back, probably in the third, fourth round to add some depth to that backfield. From the Lions perspective, Jamal Williams, DeAndre Swift, it was a really nice backfield last year. Jamal Williams, I believe, led the league in rushing touchdowns.
Yeah.
DeAndre Swift, nice player when he's out there, but he had been battling some injuries. So what do you think that this means is Montgomery's role going to be a split backfield between three of those guys? Because I think Jamal Williams is returning next year.
No,
so
he's a free agent.
Oh, he is. So they're not bringing him back.
They're not going to bring him back, which that to me, I don't know if I really like the fit there. It's 3 years, 18 million, 11 of it guaranteed. So, I mean, 6 million a season, essentially he's going to be cuttable after 2 years. So it's a good contract from the Lions perspective, but yeah, I'm kind of confused there because you have DeAndre Swift, who, like you said, is very good when he's healthy. So maybe this is them hedging. Hey, we'll have Montgomery in there in case you go down again. But they're very similar backs. They're both good at catching out of the backfield. Yeah. There's not really like a good combo like you have with Jamal Williams, who's really good at the goal line, where you use Swift from the 20s and in. Where, I mean, David Montgomery's been fine as a goal line back, but it's kind of interesting to me that you have two guys now that have very, very similar play styles.
That was also a first thought was you've got basically duplicate running backs. And I guess the thought is, hey, we can keep both of them fresh. at all times, and it'll be a true split where somebody will come in for downs 1 and 2. Next guy will come in for downs 3. They make a first down. Then they come in for the first down on the next series. Next running back comes in for downs 2nd and 3rd. And next guy comes in for the following series. You know what I'm saying? So it
Not
could be a
great from a dynasty team.
Total 100% split. That's the issue here is don't draft any of these, I guess either of those two guys at this point, unless some news comes out that the Lions move off of Swift and send him away for a 3rd or a 4th or something. That's the only way that Montgomery's draftable at least high.
Yeah. I'd like to fit if he is the actual first down back, but we need more information there. But all right, no Rodgers news. We'll have to wait. Again, we're recording on Tuesday, so you're listening to this knowing what has happened more than likely, or not. Maybe he'll wait till 12/12 of 2023 at 12:12 p.m. or a.m. Maybe he's in his.
As long as he's not a Packer, like, God, if he announces that he's out on McAfee tomorrow, I'm gonna be a happy ass person. I'm so done.
We can be found at Dead Arm Sports, Twitter, Instagram. Check us out on Facebook at Dead Arm Sports. Be the first thing that pops up. Go to YouTube, Dead Arm Sports, into that search bar. Subscribe. Click the bell there. That way you know when our live episodes drop. Ding, 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 ding. We monitor that chat during our recordings. So that way
what bell do you know makes questions. That sound?
No
Have
idea.
You ever met that bell? Ding.
Nope. Need a doorbell that does that. So really low tone. Joe can be found at Das Gel. I can be found at Das JPEG. We're at Dead Arm Sports. Subscribe, rate, and review the podcast on your favorite listening platform. Send us a screenshot. We will send some swag your way for free. What are those platforms, Joe?
Find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Google Pods. As mentioned, make sure to find us on YouTube. Just search Dead Arm Sports. You can subscribe, rate. If you can subscribe, rate, and review, we would much appreciate that on any of your chosen listening platforms. Subscribe on our listening or on our YouTube channel as well, and we'll bake some cookies for you or something.
Joel's definitely the better cook, so you want the cookies.
Not a good baker. Not a good baker.
Are you a good candlestick maker though? That is the true question.
Are you?
And with that will wrap up this show. Appreciate everyone out there listening. Enjoy March Madness, the best weekend of the year. And Joe, close her out.
Good finish. One shining moment. I don't know the rest of that song. I just know that's the theme.
Nailed it.